Zaxby's, indescribably good.
So, one thing I noticed today in the Marietta Daily Journal, the article about Sam Letton, we talked a little bit about that, and you had a quote in the article that was a quote that I was saying to friends of mine after the game. He makes circus catches. Made one grab going across the middle where he had to reach back behind him, grabbed it on his shoulder pads. The one later in the game where he caught the ball down the middle with one hand. That's got to be a tremendous lift for a young man like Josh White coming in his first year as a starter.
Oh, without a doubt.
To have Sam Letton to throw the ball to.
We lost a couple kids before we actually got in place here. I knew that if we were able to get Bill here, that he also was Bill's a great football coach, Sam's father, Bill Letton, and the things that we did at Lexington Catholic that Bill continued to do as head coach there were the same things we want to do here: spread it, run it, throw the ball, and a bonus was Sam. Sam's been Sam's sort of a result of how in youth league. Sam's been, since he's been fifth grader, he's been catching footballs. Sam was always a little bit taller than other kids in his age, and he's caught footballs. He's learned how to run routes. He's learned how to use his weight and how to find grass. And obviously, when you're making circus catches, the number one thing is his concentration. And you just learn how to do that. His concentration is unbreakable, and then his strength, when he's got people hanging on him, he can come up with he's strong, and so he can rip the ball from people, or he can, for example, if he's going up for the catch, you're not going to smack his arms down.
Right.
So he's just like any other receiver. We had a couple drops here and there last week, but he's also been the go-to guy. But we've got some other good receivers. Wolf is a very good receiver. Bailey does a good job, and we got some young guys coming up. Pigeon is a good receiver, and he's a big, strong kid. And to his credit, we've moving him some he's a tight end that can catch the football. He's also a tight end that we use as a glorified tackle. He's a great blocker. We've had him in the backfield. I don't know if I should say that on here, but we've had him running the football and coming out of the backfield, kicking people out. And he is very versatile, and he's a strong, violent football player. And he's a guy that's going to be recruited, and somebody's going to sign him. Just like a lot of times when people say, "Well, we're quote signing this kid as an athlete," they always think of a kick returner, receiver. But he's a kid that could play like 4 different positions. He also plays defensive end for us too. So, sometimes you say, well, if we've got him doing all these things, but he can play these things, and he's pretty good at it, and he's a very physical kid. So he's another example of a really good football player that we have. So we just have to keep working on things we are, and we're having to move some other guys around, and we're going to play some kids on both sides some. So it's just how it is.
So we have the first loss of the season last week against Roswell. Then you have an off week. What has the off week been like as you try to get over that loss and get ready for the next man up?
Well, the number one thing it gave us a chance to, over a 3-day period. We gave them, we played on Friday, gave them a couple of days off. We usually come in on Saturday. They didn't have to come back in until Monday, so that gave them a couple of days to get off their feet and maybe just get away a little bit. And because usually when you have to come right back in the next morning, the first thing is you get hit in the face with all the things you didn't do right, and some of the things you did, some of the things you did well, but you really get. We won, we lost, but this is the things we got to get better at, and then you try to peek at the other team. Plus, we're going to work them out. We're going to let them get that soreness out. So normally we wouldn't want to do that, but on that off week we could do that, and then we basically did our Saturday workout on Monday. And then, of course, we had 3 days, and then we gave them Friday off. So today was our first day back.
All right, we're going to take a break here for just a moment and have a word from our sponsor, Zaxby's, and we'll be back with more of the Mo Dixon Show right after this word from Zaxby's.
Zaxby's, indescribably good.
Welcome back. All right, now we're going to try a new segment. I get to fill in for Kurt, so I get to do things my way this time. We're not going to do predictions like Kurt does. What we're going to do is a segment called What Would Mo Do? And the scenario is from the Florida State-Clemson game on Saturday night. And scenario number one is Jameis Winston, suspended for the game, not supposed to be dressed out, he's not going to play, shows up pregame on the sideline, fully dressed out, he's got his ankles taped and everything. You're Jimbo Fisher, what would Mo do?
Well, I'd really enjoy being Jimbo Fisher for one. That'd be pretty cool. I'd probably find Bobby Bowden and say hi to him.
Yep.
Okay. But that's not what you want to hear. Okay, if you saw it on TV, you saw Jimbo was really, you could tell he was upset about him being out there. So, all right, we saw that. And it was just sort of like, no, son, no. You know, you could just tell. Anybody that saw that knows that for whatever reason, I don't think Jimbo thought he would be out there. Now, if you watched it right after that, they talked about that when he comes back out. I can't remember if he had come back out yet or if it was right after that. You also see Jimbo pat him on the chest and say, that was my fault. I mean, you could if you go, anybody that take that can go back and watch him say, he said it was my fault, and he said something else like I should have, or it was something like a miscommunication. So I don't know. I've not heard anybody really talk about that, but you could see it plain as day. So if anybody taped it, you can go back and watch it. He turns around and says it was his fault. So for whatever. Now I can't make that call. I know one thing. The suspension came from the top, so it wouldn't been that thing that happened there. That was a Florida State decision. So I don't want to say that makes it easy, but whatever. But that's what Mrs. McNeil tells me to do. That's what we do, and I don't think twice about it. Mm-hmm. So that's what would happen. Now that thing right there, who knows what happened there? I mean, if I can't see that happening in a high school situation, but it could possibly, I guess, happen in a college situation because the crowd, there's so many players, there's so many people, he's probably out giving interviews, so that could happen. I just don't see that somebody sneaking on the field in high school. So I have no idea how that happened or what, but I can't say what I would have done if I was at Florida State because I would think that whatever Jimbo Fisher did, to me it looked like he didn't expect him to be out there. So I would probably just do what he did.
Okay.
I would say because he knows a lot bit more about what he's doing than I know about what he's doing. So
that's fair enough. We'll accept that answer.
Was that a cop-out?
No, that's
No,
that's perfectly fine. Scenario number two. Now you're Dabo Swinney, and it's overtime, and you've got a 4th and 1. And what Dabo Swinney does is lines his freshman quarterback Deshaun Watson up in the shotgun formation, only needing 1 yard. And, of course, they did not get that 1 yard, and Florida State ends up winning the game on their possession. Now, you've got 4th and 1 in overtime. You're Dabo Swinney. What would Mo do?
Well, if I'm Dabo, was that contradictory? You said now if you're Dabo Swinney,
what would Mo do?
Well, nobody knows his team like Dabo Swinney knows his team. So, first thing I think, because just like we had something happen to us the other night, and it's hey, Coach, what's up? What happened on 4th and 1? Well, it was 3rd and 2 because we did that today. We had a 3rd and 2 drill. I'd already made it mine. We're going for it. So, especially where it was on the field. So we had 2 plays. And we had 2 plays to get 2 yards. We knew that, and we didn't get it done. And Josh had run a quarterback sneak 2 or 3 times. And you got KK sitting back there, so either one of those 2 things could go. And I should know what we ran on 3rd and 2. I don't remember right now, but we went with. Let's put it this way. If I flipped it to you and I said before a ball game, we're going to need a 4th and 1, who would you give it to? I don't think you'd take a breath before you'd say KK.
Right.
So my money would be on KK too. So, but my money would also be on our quarterback. But we just didn't get it done for whatever reason. Now, that doesn't mean it's on those two people, but, you know, I have no problem with those two guys running behind our line, and just, you know, sometimes that happens. Now, as far as Clemson, I think they were sort of looking to that quarterback who we all are familiar with. He's going to be outstanding. We all know that. We all knew that, and I'm sure Dabo knew that, and that's why he jumped at the chance to put that kid in. And you know, there's a lot of teams that, you know, their best running play is out of the gun. So,
Yeah.
But they know what's best there. You know, they get paid millions of dollars. Again, I can't exactly say what I do, but I don't know. I just don't know how they. You're playing against the number one defense in the nation too. So, and those cats were on the other night. The best thing on that field the other night was. And that's what the best thing about Florida State is their defense. Their defense is outstanding. So I don't know what I'd do if I was Dabo Swinney, if I was facing Florida State's defense. I have no idea.
Well, going back to your scenario and going back to the game last week, Josh White had that one quarterback sneak where he just moved the line forward. He needed 10 yards. He got 10 yards on a quarterback sneak.
I can't remember what the play was on as far as the down and distance. I can't remember what that was. I swear I think it was a first down. I may be wrong, but that was it third? Was it third down? But you know, your front's going to be different on fourth down,
Right.
4th and 1 because of that play, too. So
Gotcha.
I think we were thinking an edge, like from the tackle out play on that, instead of it being right up the middle. And you know, that's what happens. That's what they, you know, that's why we just had to, you know, you make it. It's a good play. It's just like you're saying against for the Clemson game. They were in a shotgun. Well, we did what we thought, and we were under center, and we didn't get it. Now maybe we should have dropped back and threw it to Sam or something, or Bailey coming sliding across or something. But you can bet we've worked that a lot this week. You know, it's just how it goes. And you know, that's not the game. That's not the play that completely beat us. But that was a big play right there. I think that play, that right through there, summed that out. But, you know, defensively, they ran over top of us. So, pick your poison that game. So, I take the full blame on that.
All right, well, we're 3-1 now, 1-1 in region play. You got the big win over Lassiter and then the tough loss here at home to Roswell. Now we got Wheeler going back out on the road. You know, Kurt always likes to talk about the away games and how you have to leave early and beat traffic. I don't think you're going to have to leave too early for this one if you're going over to Wheeler. Not too far away. But we had a tremendous game against Wheeler last year, Coach. I don't know if you had a chance to check that one out, but it was one of those games that if it had been on ESPN, it would have been an instant classic. As far as the comeback that the Raiders made to win that game, tied it up, sent it into overtime, and won it. You know, just like every region game, these teams are going to come ready to play, and Wheeler's certainly going to be no different.
They got great athletes. Coach has done a great job. I know their defense coordinator. He was the defense coordinator at North before I got there, and Davis does a great job on defense with those kids. We sort of run a defense that's a lot alike. He and I. Ours here is morphed a little bit different, but those guys don't come to play. They got a lot of speed. They got a receiver I think is committed to Georgia Tech, 6'3", 6'4".
Harlan Howell, yep.
Yeah, outstanding kid. And they're very fast on both sides of the ball, and they've done a great job. If I'm not mistaken, they played us pretty tough 2 years in a row, and I'm sure that's still sitting sort of in the gut there. And you know, they're and from what I understand, it's always been a rivalry and an old rivalry. And you know, kids today, that's especially in region play, it's always a rivalry, and we're sort of close, and it's they got a real nice facility over there. I saw it on film. They got a really nice field and stuff like that. So it'll be a good night for football, and it's a big game for both of us. And if somebody slips, you know, it's early. Like I said, that last game's big for us. You got to try to win out. Both sides do, and those kids are hungry. You know, you can just watch it on film. You can tell how they get after it. Got a lot of respect for them. A lot of respect.
Well, as I mentioned, this one's at Wheeler coming up this Friday night. 7:30 kick time for that game. You won't have to leave too early to get over there, but make sure you get over there and fill up that visitor side and give Coach Mo and the Raiders your support on Friday night. I'm Tim Burns. This is Mo Dixon, and this has been the Mo Dixon Show. Appreciate you checking us out, and we'll have a game for you on Raider Vision the following Friday night as we host the Pope Greyhounds.
Come see us.